and hello world! Broadcasting live here at Governor Alfonso Ditan College. I am Ryan J and this is Ed 104 News brings you daily educational news. For the headlines. Causes of learning disability may attributed to genetic and environmental factors. For further information, here's Ed 104 reporter Jonalyn Alderete. Jonalyn?
Okay, thank you, Ryan. So, the genetic factors refer to the characteristics that are inherited in genes, chromosomes, and deoxyribonucleic acid or DNA. Over the years, genetic researches show that learning disabilities tend to run in families and heredity is a possible cause. Studies of identical or monozygotic twins, where one fertilized egg cell and splits and develops into two separate embryos, show that when one twin has a reading disability, the other twin is more likely also to have a reading disability. Identical twins possess the same physical and mental traits. However, researchers shows that this is not true in the case of fraternal or dizygotic twins where two egg cells are fertilized and develop into two distinct embryos. Fraternal twins carry different physical and mental traits. So this is Jonalyn G. Alderete, Ed 104 News. Back to you, Ryan.
Thank you, Jonalyn. And now to bring us knowledge about our body's control system, broadcasting live from Lanao del Norte, here's Ed 104 reporter Dalin Rose Gonzalez. Dalin?
Thank you, Ryan. So the brain and the nervous system control our perceptions, thoughts, and voluntary actions, and also most of the body's internal processes. There are three major areas in the brain, which is the cerebrum, cerebellum, and the brainstem. The cerebrum is the largest part of the brain and is associated with conscious activities and intelligence. The cerebrum have the outer surface, which is the cerebral cortex. It processes information from and for different parts of the body. The somatosensory strip processes sensations, while the motor strip controls the muscles. So the next one is the cerebellum. Cerebellum coordinates movement and balance. The thalamus acts as a sort of junction box, sending incoming nerves impulses in different areas of the brain. The medulla oblongata controls heart rate and breathing. The last one is the brainstem. The brainstem connects the brain to the spinal cord. And so, the brain has about 1,000 billion nerve cells. The average adult male brain weight is 1.4 kilograms or 3 pounds. The adult female brain weight is 1.25 kilograms or 2.75 pounds. The mass of brain tissue reaches a maximum at the age of 20 years and thereafter decreases. So let's move on to the nervous system. The nervous system is a network of nerves extends throughout our bodies, carrying sensory information to the brain and instructions from it. So this is Dalin Rose P. Gonzalez, Ed 104 News. Back to you, Ryan.
Thank you, Dalin. As to the report, brain damage may cause learning disability. To give us a clear report on this genetic factor, broadcasting live from Aguada, Ozami City, here's Ed 104 reporter Marjorie Morales. Marjorie?
Yes, and thank you, Ryan. Brain damage. An increasing consensus attributes learning disabilities to neurological dysfunction or central nervous system pathology. The models on the causes of learning disabilities state that the condition can be: first is hereditary. Hereditary is indicating the presence in the genetic make of certain inherited disease or disorders that damage the brain. Hereditary is a transmittable disorder from parents to their child. Second is innate. It is a result from biological influences during the period of conception of pregnancy. Innate is an inborn disorder of a child. Third is congenital or constitutional. It indicating that the biological influences may have originated during the process of gestation or development in the prenatal, before birth, perinatal, during birth, or postnatal, after the birth of periods of development. It also inherited from parents or it caused by environmental factors. A child with a congenital disorders may experience disabilities or health problems throughout life. Some individual learning disabilities show definite signs of brain damage, which may well be the cause of learning problems. It is estimated that as many as 20% of American children with learning disabilities have sustained prior brain injury, either before, during, or after birth. Some professionals believe that all children with learning disabilities suffer from certain types of brain injury or dysfunction of the central nervous system. The brain damage may not be extensive enough to cause a generalized and severe learning problems in all areas of intellectual development. In this case, the child is described as minimally brain damaged. This is Marjorie Morales, Aid 104, reporting. Back to you, Ryan.
Thank you, Marjorie. As to the report, neurologists and other professionals use advanced technology to assist brain activities more accurately. To feed us more about it live from National Jimenez, here's Ed 104 reporter Erica Luzon. Erica?
Thank you, Ryan. Our time, our technology has evolved even more. We can easily access in technologies. There are 3 advanced technologies to access brain activities. First is electroencephalogram. It is a graphic measure and recording of the brain's electrical impulses in its digitally computerized recording and analysis of the brain waves.
Thank you, Marjorie. As to the report, neurologists and other professionals use advanced technology to assist brain activities more accurately. To feed us more about it live from National Jimenez, here's Ed 104 reporter Erica Luzon. Erica?
Thank you, Ryan. Our time, our technology has evolved even more. We can easily access in technologies. There are 3 advanced technologies to access brain activities. First is electroencephalogram. It is a graphic measure and recording of the brain's electrical impulses in its digitally computerized recording and analysis of the brain waves. During the procedure, electrodes consisting of small metal discs within wires will passed onto the scalp. The electrodes detect tiny electrical charges that result from the activity of your brain cells. Second is the computerized tomographic scans or CT scans. It is a neuroimaging technique whereby X-rays of the brain are compiled by a computer to produce an overall picture of the brain. The CT scans enable the neurologist to look at the underlying physiology or psychology or physical condition of the brain. CT scans can spot it or help doctors to see any changes. CT scans shows internal injuries and bleeding such as car accident. CT scans is also called as computed axial tomography. So the last advanced technology to access brain activities is the magnetic resonance imaging or MRI. It is a neuroimaging technique whereby radio waves are used to produce cross-sectional images of the brain. CT scans and MRI results shows that the brains of those with learning disabilities suffered from a disruption in the development of the neural cells during the early months of pregnancy. This means that neurons in the brain area did not develop normally. It uses a large magnet and radio waves to look at organs and structures in the body. It is very useful for examining the brain and spinal cord. MRI and CT scan are both used to capture images within your body. The difference is that MRI uses radio waves while CT scan uses X-ray. In adding some information in my topic, BCI or brain-computer interface is one of the advanced technology that can access brain activities. It connects to a human's brain, internal and external. BCI reads the brain activity and process the activity into information back to the brain. It has the potential to amplify human intelligence, which is existing for technologies. BCI fall into two categories. These are invasive and non-invasive. The difference is that invasive are implanted into the brain and connect tiny electrodes to neurons to measure their activity, while non-invasive BCI depend on noisier signals from EEG or electroencephalogram and infrared devices worn in the head. So that would be all. Back to you, Ryan.
Thank you, Erica. Biochemical imbalance, one of the causes of learning disability. To give us more knowledge about it, broadcasting live from Naga Jimenez, here's Ed 104 reporter Tracy Lagura. Tracy?
Thank you, Ryan. So for now, let's jump off at biochemical imbalance. So it's stated here that some researchers claim that biochemical disturbances in a child's body cause learning disabilities. There is a study in 1975 suggested that artificial food colors, flavors, preservatives, salicylates, and megavitamins in many of the foods that children eat can cause learning disabilities and hyperacidity, but a comprehensive review of diet-related studies concluded that very little pieces of evidence supported that statement. So, although it is a possible or even probable that biochemistry may affect a child's behavior and learning in the classroom, no scientific evidence exists today to reveal the nature or extent of the influence. Learning problems can be attributed to an imbalance of chemicals in the brain and in the body. For example, students who tend to act hyperactive do not have enough stimulation in their brains. They therefore compensate by outwardly acting out. So for adding some information about biochemical imbalance is that because of genetic differences in the way our bodies process foods, most of us are quite deficient in certain nutrients and overloaded in others. Despite an ideal diet, most of us have certain nutrients that are very low levels, and some of us may have nutrients at very toxic levels. Without a healthy balance of macronutrients and micronutrients, through epigenetics, our bodies will turn genes that we inherited and cause a disease state. At Mensa Medical, we do specific biochemical laboratory testing to determine an individual's chemical imbalance, and we prescribe an individualized and compounded vitamin, mineral, nutrient protocol to help our patients recover from various disease states. Our physical and mental health needs the proper balance of critical brain chemicals. This is why correcting biochemical imbalances is the key to optimal health and wellness. That would be all, and thank you. Back to you, Ryan.
Thank you, Tracy. According to experts, one of the causes of learning disability is environmental factors. To give us more knowledge about it, broadcasting live from Baybay, Santa Cruz, Ozami City, here's Ed 104 reporter Trisha May Dunal. Trisha?
Yes, Ryan. Thank you, Ryan. So the third causes of learning disabilities is the environmental factors. So the environmental factors are difficult to study. There are pieces of evidence that show poverty, malnutrition,
influences believed to be related to children's learning problems. So the first is emotional disturbance. So many children with learning problems have behavioral disorders as well. Whether one causes the other or whether both are caused by some other factors remains uncertain. The anxiety disorder, the bipolar disorder, manic depression, conduct disorders, eating disorders, or obsessive or compulsive disorder, and psychotic disorders. These are the examples of emotional disturbance. So the second one is the lack of motivation. It is difficult to identify reinforcing activities for some students with learning disabilities. It is possible that they may not simply be interested in any of the things the other children like. So what causes low motivation in school children? Different children have different triggers for low drive regarding schoolwork and other activities. These include fear of failure, low self-esteem, belief or feeling that the content has no personal meaning for them, or previous experiences of failure. And the last one is the poor instructions. Although children are able to learn in spite of poor teaching and inadequate strategies, other children are less fortunate. Some of them who have experienced poor instruction in the early grades are not able to catch up with their peers. So how would you modify instructions for students with learning disabilities? So first is, you need to give a word bank for fill in the blank or writing an essay. Second, allow students to type or orally report their responses. Third, give a specific list for steps to complete a task. Fifth, provide concept cards with an assignment. Sixth, allow the students to use their book or notes. And lastly, provide specific examples. This is Trisha Maidanal, Ed 104 News. Back to you, Ryan.
And that's our educational news for today. Stay updated and be informed. I am Ryan J. and this is Ed 104 News. Thank you, Philippines, and thank you, world.